These are the 3.2 video notes. We're doing part 2 next. All right, so this first one, it says find the value of x and y. All right, so I see this line and this line are parallel. These two lines are parallel because they have those little arrows on them. Now, we have two transversals. Remember, a transversal is something that crosses a parallel line. So here's a transversal and here's a transversal, two transversals. Now, when it looks like this, see how these transversals are not parallel to each other? They are going to intersect somewhere up here. You kind of have to treat them as two separate transversals. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of pretend this goes away. If you're doing it on your paper, put your hand over the right-hand side and only pay attention to the left-hand side here. All right. So I can see this angle is acute. This angle is acute. This angle's acute. This angle's acute. Obtuse, 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 obtuse. So if you notice, I'm trying to find x. X and 72 are both blue. If they're both blue, they're both acute. That means they're congruent. So that means x is also 72 degrees. X is 72 degrees because they are both acute and they both share the same color. So we know what x is. Now, in order to find y, we're going to go back. Here's my parallel line, my parallel line. All right, I'm going to go back. I'm going to kind of hide the left-hand side. So if you're doing it on paper, hide the left-hand side and only pay attention to the right-hand side with the transversal. So I'm going to color in all my different angles. So obtuse, 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 obtuse. Acute, 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 acute. So now look at them. My goal is to find y. Y is blue, 113 is pink. Now if they're different colors, don't forget they are supplementary to each other. So I know 113 plus the y value will equal 180 degrees. They're supplementary. The two angles add to be 180. So I'm going to subtract 113, and we find y is, we take 180 minus 113, you get 67. So y is 67 degrees, and you're done with that problem. All right, let's try our next one. It says the measure of angle 5 is 30 degrees. Angle 5 is 30, so here's angle 5. And I notice a couple things. I notice this line and this line have these little double arrows right here. Double arrows, those mean these two lines are parallel. I also notice this line L and this line M have a single line. That means these two lines are parallel. Now we can't have single lines on these two lines because that if they all had single little arrows like this, that would mean they're all parallel to each other. And they're not all parallel to each other. This is one set of parallel lines. This is a second set of parallel lines. That's why they have two different little arrow things on them. All right, so same thing. We're going to go through. Because that this line, this transversal and this transversal are parallel to each other, it means in here all acute angles are the same measure and all obtuse angles. But that only happens when the second set of lines are parallel. Up here, my second set of lines were not parallel, so I had to treat it like two separate problems. All right, so I'm going to go through. I'm going to highlight all my acute angles blue. And I'm going to highlight all my obtuse angles green. And now we got to find all the angle measures. So if I know my blue angle is acute, that means all the acute angles that are blue are also 30 degrees. And I'm just going to go through and write that in. All my blue angles are 30. Now remember, an obtuse angle and acute angle equal 180 degrees. In order to find the angle 1, I'm going to do angle 1 plus 30 degrees equals 180. So I know x is 150, or my obtuse angles are 150 degrees. Because this guy's green, that means all my green guys are obtuse and also 150. I'm just going through. and naming all the angles 150. And you're done.